Hello viewers, it's Cynthia Michael from Screen Review, reviewing my 468 podcast. This is my 468 podcast. And like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly in case you don't understand me. Also, I try to do my best not to beat your heart during this audio podcast recording as well, not to cause any audio feedback as well. And finally, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will change to adult language. Once again, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will change to adult language if you're under 18. Now, if you're over 18, let's get, if you're over 18, that means you're good to watch this audio podcast recording. So anyway, oh my god, I just finished watching the final episode of Picard. I gotta say, this is a pretty good season. I know that a lot of people criticizing this season because they took the idea, the whole plot of the season kind of reminds you of those Star Trek movies. You know, those two Star Trek movies where the two Star Trek movies, one for the original series, the other from Generation, when they went back in time to stop. And went back in time. So basically, if you watch, I believe Star Trek, if you watch that, if you watch Star Trek 4, when Kurt and the gang went back in time to go get some whales to help communicate with this alien in the future. That's Kurt, of course, mad destruction in the time period and whatnot, and the other stars. In that Next Generation movie where, when Picard and his crew went back in time to try to stop the Borg, from, messing up the first flight the first flight of war technology and whatnot. It's pretty much this season pretty much took the elements from those two movies and fused it into this. But besides that, otherwise, this series was mind blowing. This series was mind blowing. So basically, we finally got weapons, how basically, we get about Khan. So basically, we always know that Khan said he and his people were genetically modified, but we never know who ran the project that genetically modified Khan and his people. Now we know that Dr. Sohn's ancestor was the head of that project that genetically modified Khan, and turns out the project was Project On. Also, we got to finally get to see Wesley. Turns out he's a new traveler. So basically, he's a new traveler, whatnot, has his own powers and whatnot. Finally, and also Seven and Rafi finally got together in the season and whatnot, and basically, but the good thing about this whole season, it's good to see Q and Dinah. Even though Dinah was not, Whoopi Goldberg, who played Dinah from the representation, wasn't fully purchased throughout the season. They got a younger actor who played her, when they went back in time. But it was good to see. It was good to see Whoopi play Dinah again. It's also good to see Lance to play Q again. So basically, and also, this season was pretty good. This season was pretty good. We finally got to see Q again. We finally get to see Dinah again. So basically, even though the storylines from those Star Trek movies, from those old Star Trek movies, it was pretty good. So basically, this whole thing, every time that car comes to visit, comes to mess with the car, he always has his reasons, and all the time that car learns learn something. That card and its crew always learn something from Q's visit, from Q's visits and whatnot. So basically, a lot of people. So basically, the card learned that maybe he should really truly live his life, truly like Carl learned to really. He needs to fully live his life, don't close himself off for love and whatnot, and really learn something from Q's meddling with with the timeline. So basically, this whole time, Q's reason was, to help the card, live the rest of his life, with somebody who loves him. So basically, Q actually did a good thing, for, like, and Q, it's always that Q always loved the card, like, start all the things, start all the terrible things, start all the bad blood that card has towards Q, Q actually cares about him. So basically, like, Q using his last moments of life, to make sure that Picard fully lives his life whatever time he has left and whatnot. So basically, that was real shocker. And plus, seeing Wesley Crusher, now it's a traveler, has the power of a traveler. That was mind blowing, like, yeah. And plus, we finally got who was responsible for Khan. So basically, had to, genetically, making Khan and shit like that also. And plus, after this whole time, he came back to Starfleet, became a captain, and he decided to get up for a woman in a different time period, and like, and it has something to do. So Wallace, gave up his command, in Starfleet as the captain of the new version, the Stargazer, to stay in the past, with a woman who he fell in love with, basically, this whole season had this weird thing that, nobody's following nobody's living their life fully. Like, there's always, it's kind of like, there's this whole series of, like, there's always room for romance. I know that Agnes pretty much got screwed over by becoming the new boy queen. Like, I figured that since Agnes seems to have the bad luck of finding romance, I feel like she should have ended up with romance, but instead she became the new board queen, and hope Picard and the others made a transport corridor and whatnot, and finally got the board to join Starfleet. Now I can't wait to see how this shit plays out, though. With Agnes being the new board queen, and basically, on how would the Federation will accept the board into Starfleet, because that's gonna be very interesting to see right there. And plus, with cards, wandering girlfriend, I have to see how that relationship plays out as well. But I was really hoping to see more of the original next generation. Hoping that get to see Gordy, or Worf or whatnot. In the PlayStation, we got to see the Riker fan and whatnot. But I was hoping that this season we'll at least get to see more of the original cast members. But it is what it is. So basically, we got Q, we got Wesley, and we got Diana. So basically, we got three more original cast Christmas for the next generation, and hoping that the next season we finally get to see Worf and Gordy and Gordy or hell even Taylor O'Brien. I like to see what he's doing right now. Shit, that's why I hope for to see Worf and Gordy like finally get to see if Gordy is alive or not, or finally get to see Worf and whatnot. But anyway, to me, I waited a long time to see Picard reunite with Q, Picard reunited with Dinah again. So basically, this second season was good. This second season was pretty good, in my opinion. So anyway, what do you guys think about the second season of Picard season 2? Good, bad, or just okay? Please let me know in the comments below this podcast. So anyway, signing off. 1.